And yeah, and they didn't need to do all the riots during Biden because they were getting what they wanted. But I do think it's important to remember that even though we are going to see this kind of violence, and even though we see it with this GOP headquarters and all of the Teslas and the Tesla dealerships and all of the boomers going around dancing and thinking that they're actually getting something done, it's still a relatively small amount of people. And these are the small amount of people that make a huge amount of noise.
Did y'all see the people dancing in front of the Tesla, that coordinated dance or whatever?
Yeah,
I would.
Hot. It was so hot.
Well, I'd appreciate it if that's all they did. I'd be like, oh well, you got me.
Well, if you want to go dance around in front of Tesla or protest, protest, but don't be destroying people's property and don't be, going in and disrupting all of the business. Make your point in a politically protesty type of way, as is traditionally done.
What was worse, that or the dancing nurses during COVID?
5 seconds
Oh
left.
my goodness.
Oh, the dancing nurses were dancing on grapes.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That was,
Bomb
The
located by
doctors
Op
were
4.
almost worse.
Friendly, last op. Mission failed. All friendlies were eliminated.
Worse than the nurses too.
Yeah, there were videos of there were some black women who were filming, and they were like, "Is this why I can't get any service right now?" And they were filming people producing a dance. So it's like people who actually need help at a hospital were looking at nurses staging a dance instead of doing their jobs. That was just disgusting. Disgusting.
And then musicians who should have been playing shows where people could actually dance are shut down because they weren't allowed to perform.
That's okay, because they were playing Imagine, each of them in their remote location.
I mean, that's the real reason
That
people
was
should be
so
mad at Gal
spectacular.
Gadot.
Yeah, I mean, that was, I found that offensive. The Imagine from your beautiful backyard.
She's
in my apartment.
she's not
10
American
seconds
though,
remaining.
so she probably doesn't understand as much as we do how awful that is.
I remember
Down to 5
during
seconds.
at that time the WHO reaching out to do. Can you come
Op
and
4
pray
has
for us?
located a
This is
bomb.
right.
Get ready to engage.
Can you come and pray for us? Because we're trying to.
Evil eye deployed.
Spend love or whatever, and what they were actually doing was trying to whitewash their own reputation, bandwash, artist wash their reputation, using people like Lady Gaga and everything too. And it's a bit of a tangential point.
Like play where? Like at events?
You play from your bedroom.
Oh, so it
Everyone
was the
streaming their little concerts like
The ultimate
doing their bit.
bed-in. I mean, it could have been,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
should have been
exactly.
the thing. It was like an homage to Lennon and Yoko.
I come to America and I don't think it's quite reconciled itself with what happened from 2020 through the pandemic, through BLM, all the people killed in that period, all the damage done. I feel like it's being completely ignored and memory held by liberal types. And I think
One
even
friendly operator
conservatives,
remaining.
It's like I don't want to go back there. It's too
It's
tiring.
not just the
Op 4
conservatives,
eliminated.
and it's not just the
Mission
liberals. It's
successful.
readers. Readers
Oh, really?
don't want to read it. Yeah, when we
Found that
run
post-
stuff at the post-millennial about like rehash of COVID, here's some stuff that were revealed now and then, if people are interested in it. But when you say somebody has finally admitted that the virus was perhaps created in a lab in Wuhan, everyone's just like, meh, like,
Well, we knew that.
we knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
Or
thing is,
if
a lot
you
of people
say-
did. A lot of people didn't, though. And
Sure,
that's the
but
issue.
like readers of the post-millennial,
They
they
already
were
knew.
pretty smart. They knew that, or the stuff about, lockdowns were not actually effective. Masking was bad. Pulling kids out of school.
really, really bad.
Why do the most successful people wear the same outfit every day?
Bad precipitating incident like in 2020.
Like the George Floyd thing?
Yes, yeah.
Well, I mean, you lock people in their homes for several months, then give them a George Floyd, and anything that can be a catalyst or a spark for their anger that already exists.
It's also weird because to me, I was always kind of led to believe growing up, if you're not politically inclined, you're led to believe that the right is the violent side.
Right.
Mainly because of stuff in the 90s.
White supremacist
10
and
seconds
Yeah,
to insertion.
I mean, there's actually going to be a Timothy McVeigh movie coming out this year that
5
I'm very,
seconds
very
to
interested to see. Yeah.
Proceed to bomb's location and defuse it. You must recover the diffuser. It has been secured.
Changing back! Blowing cluster charge.
Four last operator standing.
Swapping mags.
Diffuser is active, protected at all costs. Op 4 eliminated.
I don't know who that is.
He's
Well, you're British.
Oklahoma City bombing in
yeah.
93.
So there's a movie coming out about it.
He blew up a federal building.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Which is
okay.
where, you know, between that and other things that happened to him in America in the 90s, the right gets that idea of being politically more violent.
He's the one who wrote that manifesto on technology, right? That was
Isn't
him.
that the Unabomber?
That was the Unabomber.
Unabomber.
Ah, okay, okay.
I went down a
Kaczynski
rabbit
was
hole
the
reading about
Friendly
anthrax.
drone
Wasn't
deployed.
he like
Op 4
anthrax
is
back?
reinforcing its location.
It was a unit. It was bombing. It was bombs. Okay, I guess that's why he's
Yes.
And he was like writing all this. Right, the Unabomber.
Anthrax was the stuff to the government.
called the government.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Got it.
But I'm saying, like, the political landscape has changed dramatically since the 90s, but a lot of people
10
are still
seconds to
stuck
go.
in that pattern of not really understanding just how far left
5
the
seconds
violence
before
has
insertion.
become in this country.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Indeed.
Proceed to bomb's location and defuse it.
Activating drone.
Setting up a sequential breach. Reloading!
Big drone!
I'm reloading!
You have dropped the diffuser.
Cluster charge. Blowing cluster charge.
The diffuser is now secured. You must recover the diffuser. One friendly operator remaining.
Indeed. Well, let's jump to this next story from Fortune. Elon Musk calls for the arrest of those he claims are funding anti-Tesla
Four
protests. I appreciate Fortune for actually getting it right, because even though Elon Musk said those funding it, almost every outlet reported he was calling for the organizers to be arrested. There's a big difference, because Elon has accused Soros and Reid Hoffman, among others, of indirectly funding these protests. They say an emboldened Elon Musk is ratcheting up pressure on the anti-Tesla demonstrations. They say since on Sunday, Musk, whose company is expected to report on Wednesday its worst quarterly car sales, thanks Fortune, did not seem satisfied with leaving it there. He argued going after low-level perps is the law enforcement equivalent of whack-a-mole. Lock one up for criminal for 20 years, another will pop up. In his view, they are little more than pawns, acting at the behest of Tesla CEO's wealthy Democratic opponents. They say arresting their puppets and paid foot soldiers won't stop there. It's time to arrest those funding the attacks. Former Wall Street Journal reporter Asrat Nomani fed these suspicions this weekend when she claimed to have found evidence of at least 24 largely tax-exempt organizations, all supposedly aligned with the Democratic Party, were compensating protesters for their time. Her allegations were picked up by the Trump-friendly outlets Fox News and Zero Hedge as evidence the protests are not genuine but astroturfed. So the important thing here is they mentioned LinkedIn co-founder forced to deny Musk's claim of involvement. But Elon said, Reid will have many layers between himself and the organizations attacking me, but the probability is 100% that Reid is funding them. Probability, that's a very bold statement because it opens them up to defamation were it not true. But this is big. This is Elon Musk saying, arrest Democrat megadonors. I consider this to be worrying escalation.
Worrying escalation from Elon Musk? Or from the megadonors?
In the culture war in general.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it's true that they're funding these protests which turn violent or inspire violence, drum this sentiment up, that's terrifying all the same. And I'm not saying Elon Musk's wrong to say go after people that are funding these protests or anything like that. The challenge is these protests are not the same as the terror attacks. If somebody wants to provide resources so people can protest, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, that's a free speech thing.
Absolutely. And then if people after the fact engage in terror because the sentiment was built up by these protests, we know what the Democrat megadonors are wanting to do, should it be the case. You don't fund these things.
Is he definitely saying defund the protests, or was that a sort of, maybe he got the wording wrong and he meant to say the attacks on Teslas?
What do you mean? He says arrest the people funding it.
Funding the
Quote,
protests.
Arresting their puppets and paid foot soldiers won't stop the violence.
Yes, but he says the
It
violence.
is time to arrest those funding the attacks.
Right. So but you're saying funding the protests shouldn't. It's fine to fight
Ready to
protests,
eliminate hostiles.
and he says the protests, but later he says the attacks and the violence. So he might be using the word protest synonymously with the attacks and violence.
Right.
But you're saying protests fine, attacks and violence problem. Presumably you do think it's a good idea to stop funding the attacks and violence.
Yes.
That's not an escalation to arrest those people.
But I agree, it seems that he's using them interchangeably, as he goes on to say. Reid will have many layers between himself and the organizations attacking him. But the probability is 100% that Reid is funding them. So if these organizations are attacking him, and he is saying funding the attacks, I don't know if he thinks that the terror attacks are being funded by somebody, because he's never expressed that.
Deploying.
One friendly remaining. One op 4 remaining. Mission failed.
He's saying
All
outright
friendlies
the
were
attacks
eliminated.
in general. I think he's using them interchangeably.
Yes.
And that's a problem too, because that's something that people who are more in line with their cause are going to seize on and say that it's a free speech issue, and they're going to say that he's trying to shut down dissenting opinions when what he's actually trying to say is that he wants the violence to stop.
Right.
That's a
Well,
messaging
he probably
issue.
wants the protests to stop also.
But
you
he should
know?
understand
in
that it's
his-
bad
in his
optics
mind,
to do
sure.
that.
But in his mind, it's all sort of an attack. I mean, Tim Waltz saying that he was enjoying seeing the Tesla
ready to
stock
engage on
tank
four.
was an attack.
When the
Yeah, and of course, we've seen that all over the place. Jasmine Crockett, is that an attack? Is all of this an attack? Which part is the attack?
I don't know how any of this could be happening, because how can Democrats have mega donors? Because they keep talking about oligarchs and billionaires. And I can't imagine there are any actual Democratic oligarchs and billionaires. That just wouldn't make any sense.
One thing that it might
5
be the
seconds.
case that there's a link between USAID and something, and I don't
Bomb
have any
located by Op
conclusive
4.
evidence of that. However, USAID were funding the
No time to waste.
말보다는 행동이지.
Try to get through that. My beauties are in place. Keep it deployed. We have some time. Setting a nest. Kiva successfully deployed.
Tides Foundation, which is a foundation that Soros has also founded, that to the tune of $27 million was giving money to the Black Lives Matter. So
Last
there is
operator
a history there of
Mission
funding.
failed. All
Tides
friendlies.
also was funding some of the anti-Israel stuff.
Was it really?
I'm pretty sure.
Which stuff? The Columbia University stuff? or-
They were in there somewhere. I remember we had reporting on that, and I'm not remembering exactly what it was.
So you're saying that this could actually be worse right now if it wasn't for the gutting of USAID? Theoretically.
Well, it'd be interesting if he was more clear about exactly where the funding's coming from.
It was the campus stuff.
It was the campus stuff that Tides was
Yeah,
funding across all the universities across the
across
country.
universities in the U.S.
I guess it would be interesting to it's easy to say George Soros funds everything, but you actually want to see like how exactly is the Open Societies Foundation funding them. So what I'd ask of Elon, what I want to know is how he's alleging that Reid Hoffman is funding them. How exactly? He says that it eventually goes 100%.
Friendly drone
It traces all the
deployed.
way back to
Op
Reid
4
Hoffman.
is
But let's see
reinforcing
that line.
location.
Like expose that line, because then it's clear. Otherwise, it's all quite nebulous and it's even opaque counter by Musk.
I think that's actually one. Like, I mean, I think that type of language is a problem right now, right? When you make claims without the ability to actually prove that that's what's going on, then it
10
just
seconds
falls
to
in
go.
line with political rhetoric rather than actually trying to root out a problem that's going on, and people are going to
Insertion
take
in
that as
5
being
seconds.
politically biased to one side.
I mean, what's
You found a bomb. Make your way to its location and defuse it.
Drone ready.
Lights set. Lights on. Friendly down.
why not also arrest the people doing the violence?
Yeah.
They actually should
Sure.
be arrested.
I mean, no, they just
I think his point is that more will just start popping up. It's
Right.
not going to stop.
Right.
and
But they should all be arrested and charged with felonies. And even the low tier stuff, like that woman who put gum on the car. People don't understand that it's an electronic mechanism used to open Tesla car doors.
Recover
It was
the
in the
diffuser.
handle.
Yeah, and that breaks it. That's if it was a Model S, because they flatten and they stick out. When you walk up and the car's open, they all just come out and the windows drop a little bit. It's kind of weird. But the other models have the push mechanism, which can still be damaged by the gum. She was trying to break the car.
Yeah.
Did you see that one amazing?
You got a felony.
What's the big Tesla called? The silver
Cybertruck?
The Cybertruck, and someone put a big Toyota sticker on the back.
Yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic.
Well, I mean, they're scared of terror attacks.
Well, there's also signs in New York, like in the 80s, there would be signs in people's cars. People would have like these signs, no radio, so that people wouldn't break in and steal it. And now people have signs like, I'm descended from Holocaust survivors. We're not Nazis. We bought the car a long time ago. It's to help the environment. Please don't mess up my car.
In San Francisco, people have been leaving their hatchbacks open so that when the criminals come, they don't smash out the windows. They just walk up, look in the car, they see it's open, there's nothing in there, they keep going. Yup. And I think Benny Johnson, he got robbed, didn't he? Yeah, he was filming in Oakland or something.
10 seconds
They
left.
came and smashed the window and tried. I don't know if they actually stole stuff or tried stealing it.
Tice Foundation is also funding the Indivisible
All
Project,
friendlies have
which
been
has been
eliminated.
staging and organizing protests against Tesla.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Tides is funded by USAID, so Elon is in a position to end the funding to Tides.
Well, and USAID just closed.
Yeah.
Like they're
Shut
they're
the doors.
done. Yeah. They shut that down the end of last week, I think.
One of the craziest things about living in one of these bigger cities is you can realize just how much people can get accustomed to when people talk about like, oh, my car only got broken into twice last year. And you're like, imagine this, dude. There's a place you can live where that just doesn't happen at all.
Or nobody breaks into your
Where
car.
nobody breaks into your car.
That would be nice. I think in general Americans mostly want a high trust society. And it's really been damaging having that trust just disappear slowly and then, all at once.
Yeah.
It's pretty much gone.
I mean,
now.
that's been gone for a long time.
It's been
I
gone
think.
for
I
a
mean,
long time, but like
even before the political animosity in the last 10 years, 20, 30 years of the media giving you the boogeyman of criminals and serial killers and stuff like that, high trust society's gone long.
But you pretty much, now you're at a point where you figure your neighbors might attack you.
Yeah.
Your neighbors might come shoot your dog. Your neighbors might yell at your kids or
So I think they should
any of
just
that kind of
ban. They should just be no political signs in your driveway for the good of society. No,
or maybe
political
just no
signs.
neighbors.
No.
That would work also.
That would work. I mean, that's you got to go live on a farm somewhere,
Yeah.
buy land of your own.
Yeah, but then you have to grow things.
Then you're expected to do something
You
with
have
that
to
land.
do something with
Yeah.
the land. Yeah.
What a tragedy to hear Americans talking about this way about their country. Is this really something you believe is the case across the country?
But
That
that
the trust is
The
going
death
down?
of the high trust society. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, that's for real.
I mean,
yes.
at the very least in big cities.
Winston, I went to a CVS and I couldn't buy ice cream. So we were in. I think we were. Where were we?
That could be New York, Chicago,
I think it was in
Philadelphia.
Philly. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I needed to get nail clippers, because we were traveling. I walked inside, walked up to where the nail clippers would be. Most of the products were gone, and the ones that were there were locked. So I was just like,
And then you have to
I'm not-
try and
I'm-
find someone who
I'm
works
not
there.
going to do that. I'm not going to go find someone because I need the nail
Friendly
clippers,
drone
whatever. I'll clip
deployed.
my nails when I get home.
Op
I'm only
4
here
is
for the weekend.
reinforcing its
So I said,
location.
screw it. I'm going, Allison was over by the snacks, and I walked over to the snacks, and she's looking at Cheez-Its or whatever and crackers, and I was like, let's just get a thing of ice cream. Screw it. I walk up to the fridge, and locked. Could not even take ice cream. It was locked. And I just said, let's
10
just go.
seconds.
I don't want to walk up, say, can I get ice cream? Walk back, get the ice cream, walk back. I don't care that much.
5
And you know what?
seconds to insertion.
I shouldn't be eating ice cream anyway.
But also, it's hard to find somebody.
Proceed to bomb's location and defuse it.
Setting up recon drone.
One friendly operator remaining.
In the store. So we simultaneously have a decline in trust in our society and all of these automated things coming into place that only work in a high trust society, like not that many people at CVS because it's all self-checkout, or
friendlies
the
have been
grocery
eliminated.
store, you know, or like different AI type of components like the AI drivers, the Waymo and all of this stuff. That works in a high trust society, and in a low trust society,
The passenger of the green car.
Oh, actually, I don't think I actually have that in the video. In the full report, they mention these two women are now taking gun self-defense classes.
yeah.
The next time some guy tries pulling something like that off, they're gonna get shot.
And depending on where they live, they're going to be.
I just want to point out.
Absolutely insane.
But listen to this report. This is from azfamily.com.
Which is
Flagstaff. Watch this.
This is video of a Tesla attack in Flagstaff last week. It shows a green car pulling up next to a Tesla on busy Route 66, then swerving in front to box the vehicle in. The driver then walks over to
10
the
seconds to go.
61-year-old woman in the
I want to just.
Tesla and reportedly starts hitting her while she's
Insertion in
behind the
5
wheel.
seconds. You found a bomb. Make your way to its location and defuse it.
Activating drone.
Setting up recon drone. Breaching sequence activated. Disabling electronics. Loading mag.
I started to say,
No longer in your possession.
you cut me off. What's your problem? But I don't know how much of that got out. And he started to punch me with a closed fist.
At one point, the victim, who wants to hide her identity, says she bit the
Down to
man's
one
hand.
friendly.
Moments later, the passenger of the green car appears to walk over and pull the attacker away. They finally get back in their car and drive off. The incident is among the latest attacks on Arizona Tesla
We have been
drivers
eliminated.
being targeted because of the car they drive.
This is crazy. I just want to point out. What I wanted to point out right away is that they box her in. You can see that not only do they try to stop her, but when she tries to go right,
Then walks over to the
they pull forward to make sure she's between the curb. I'm jumping that curb. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's a pretty tall curb right there, or I'm reversing, but I'm assuming she's got someone behind them. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe we can see in the
61-year-old
video.
woman in the
So in the rear, she's clear. She could have hit reverse and just got out of there. You know what's really crazy about this? Check this out. When they go on Dimension, another person is attacked. Keep listening.
Moments later, the passenger of the green car.
Oh, actually, I don't think I actually have that in the video. In the full report, they mention these two women are now taking gun self-defense classes.
Yeah.
The next time some guy tries pulling something like that off, they're going to get...
Be ready to engage Op 4. Seconds left.
Setting nitros.
5 seconds left. Bomb located by Op 4.
New camera feed up and running.
EDD deployed. Stand clear of window.
Camera feed up and running.
Device primed. Keep an eye on door.
After
Having your lead.
One friendly operator remaining. Mission failed. All friendlies have been neutralized.
And depending on where they live, they're gonna run their own risk because it's so hard to know whether you're actually gonna get in trouble for using your weapon.
I guess they'll have to figure out what the law is too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
these
that's going to be after the fact. I mean, look, a 61-year-old woman getting punched in the face, if she had a gun, she'd shoot him.
Well, these leftist guys are the same ones that have been saying punch a TERF for years and punch Nazis. And now Nazis are people who drive Teslas that they bought in order to help the environment and be environmentally friendly.
Not
'Cause
knowing when they bought it.
Nazis, Nazis love green energy.
If the roles were reversed, we would never hear the end of this. It would be on MSNBC, CNN, relentlessly. If there was any sort of far-right attack on someone because of their
Some
political...
lady in her car.
I mean, it's such an absurdity that these people think it's appropriate to punch someone who's got nothing. The driver of the Tesla might actually be a Democrat.
Yeah, for all they
What
know.
do they know?
Well, I mean, the people who are buying electric cars probably were leaning left in the first place. And it's not like all of the people driving Teslas bought them in the last month.
Yeah.
Well,
Quite.
I'm curious for you, Winston, based on what we're seeing here. Have you ever seen anything as bad as this directed, targeted attacks sustained?
In America or in
In
Britain? Directed at individuals. I mean, the worst it seemed to me was in 2020. That was a real period. I mean, we talked about this a little bit earlier.
But 2020 was mass rioting, which is
over
violence.
months.
And then you had it culminate with the
Friendly drone
autonomous
deployed.
zones.
Op 4 is
But those
reinforcing
were
its location.
leftists against government. I'm wondering if, and I don't know, Libby and Brett, if you've seen anything, what we're seeing now is random attacks on people for political purposes if they can be identified, meaning the Tesla car itself is enough identification for these attacks to
Insertion in 10
escalate on these
It's a
individuals.
good point. I remember in Portland, someone wearing a MAGA hat was killed.
5 seconds
This is
before
something that Andy
insertion.
No reported.
Aaron Daniels.
Was he?
Yes, that's right.
I think was it Daniel Sim? I'm probably wrong.
Biohazard container location
was he wearing a
unknown.
MAGA hat?
Find the biohazard container. You have found the biohazard container.
Reloading.
Proceed to its location.
Changing mag!
reload. out.
Tracker on Tracker on hostile. Throwing frag.
Grenade out. Focus here. Deploying Talon shield.
Mark on the way.
Target acquired. Enemy located. First floor. Arming shock.
Hostile activity. Neutralize the threat. Secure the container. Op 4 eliminated. Friendly mission successful.
He was Trump identified.
It's Trump identified.
Yeah.
So this is a clear difference, right? So it's no longer, we don't need to identify what their politics
Friendly
are.
drone deployed.
And there have been
Op 4
attacks
is
at
reinforcing its location.
Republican polling stations and stuff like that in the past. I think the difference between this and 2020 is that 2020 was less focused, and it was just an outlet of anger. It didn't matter who it was. They were just going after any business that they felt like tearing down at the time, which is why businesses that wanted to
10 seconds
survive
to
would
go.
put signs
Good
up in
work.
their window
The
to
biohazard
please
container has
leave
been
me
cleared.
alone. But at that same time, they
5
were
seconds.
going up to random people and asking them to raise their fist in the air to
Proceed to the
force
biohazard container and secure it.
Reloading ammo. Stay clear of the blast!
Talon shield on the ground.
Friendly, last operator standing.
compliance on people because it was a form of power.
Yeah,
more
there
than
was
anything
definitely, in
else.
terms of like the attacks on Tesla cars, not just individuals, but Tesla cars. We did see again in
We have been
2020, we saw
eliminated.
the attacks on statues, right? People were tearing down George Washington statues. People were so stupid that they were tearing down statues of abolitionists, saying, you know, that they were racist. And it's like, really? Because they were abolitionists.
You know,
And it was Danielson.
They
Aaron
would still be
Danielson.
considered racist by today's standards.
the reason why I'm asking this is
Yeah,
I'm
I thought-
curious, you know, Winston, your perspective on where this country goes. You know, obviously with the, you know, Trump being criminally charged, but now he wins. Now the Democrats are saying what he's doing is unconstitutional. Now we have Elon who's working with Trump, and people are just either there's terror attacks against dealerships, they're physically attacking people. Do you see a scenario where things start to chill out, maybe, or what do you think?
I think that the way it's heading is, and I note what I said earlier about no Democrats really calling this out.
Be ready to engage.
Is that we might end up that something really awful happens. God forbid, I don't want it, but it would take something really awful. It seems for Democrats to finally speak out against what's going on, and even then, to be honest, I'm not sure it would. There's plenty of examples.
They're not going to change the rhetoric.
And there's plenty of what happened in 2020 that they didn't speak out, even when terrible evils were happening.
No, they put websites to bail people out in their bios. That's what they did.
Kamala Harris promoted it.
Exactly.
But Tim, is your question because you think that we're in a particularly bad place? Is this where you're pushing?
Well, I'm curious.
I think this is really different this time.
The reason I wanted to ask before I gave my thoughts, because I don't want to influence what your thoughts on this particular moment may be. Maybe, you'd say, look, I've seen stuff like this, and, people are going to forget about Tesla or something like that. But I actually argued this is substantially worse in terms of the political escalation than we saw.
Kiba strikes through. Deployed barrier.
Loading new mag.
Kiba successfully deployed.
The beauties are in place. Setting needle candy. Light up.
15 seconds left. Op 4 is securing the container. 10 seconds left. 5 seconds to go. One friendly operator remaining.
In 2020.
Mission
And
failed.
that's because
All friendly-
we had this conversation a week or two ago. Is it worse now than it was in 2020? And I think it is worse. Certainly not the amount of violence occurring. It's the targeting attacks, the type of violence. So we have the mass swattings. You had, 20 plus or more swattings targeting prominent right-leaning individuals. Now you have, so it's scaling up in every tier of the right. At the lowest level, some woman, for simply having a Tesla, might not even be political, gets punched in the face repeatedly by a lunatic. Then you have the mid-tier, the influencers, getting swatted. You had Owen Schroyer brought out of his house with his hands up and they told him to take his shirt off
hostiles.
because the police are pointing guns at him and they also don't know what's going on. Then at the highest level, of course, you have the administrative attacks, attempts to arrest and jail Trump and his people, but now that he won, that is being stopped by Trump at the highest level. Of course, we have a counter with Kristi Noem, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino. But in 2020 with the riots, it was random rage. People were mad about Trump, they were mad about lockdowns, they were mad about George Floyd, and they were going out and attacking random things and everything. Anything and everything. They burned down.
Op 4 has spotted the biohazard container.
Deploying mobile cover. Deploying welcome mat.
impact out. Reloading, cover me!
Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful.
Down buildings, they attacked random people. That is very, very bad in terms of the sheer violence, but a riot may not go anywhere. Right? The riots happened, I think, largely because of COVID lockdowns, built up a lot of rage. The George Floyd story was the spark that gave people the excuse to go out and be angry. And they weren't overtly targeting people, though. There was one guy in Portland who got shot twice in the chest. And it was violent with the Chaz Chop, where they actually shot and murdered people, unloaded their rifles on some teenagers in a van, in an SUV. Crazy. What we're seeing now, though, in terms of political escalation is random street-level terror attacks, mid-level terror attacks in the digital space, bleeding into the physical space with swattings, mid-level terror attacks with fire bombs and mass shootings on dealerships. This seems to me like a worrying escalation where what happens when a leftist gets run over? Some guy already did it. He jumped the curb and drove through some protests against Tesla, and they got out of the way. He got charged. What happens when one of these individuals shoots one of the people that are attacking?
At all costs.
Get 90. Swapping mags! Reloading! Cover me! Reload!
Op 4, last stop standing.
Grabbing C4. Nitro.
Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful.
Attacking their vehicles. Then the left says they're attacking us now. The fascists are attacking us.
They did with Kyle Rittenhouse.
And that's what they did in Texas. Remember that situation in Texas?
Do you think, okay, so I have a question. Is part of this because, I think a lot of this has to do with we live in a sick society, and there's a lot of unbelievably emotionally dysregulated people who don't know how to control themselves and who suffer because they have been fed these lines about political opposition being evil. But I wonder if some of it has to do with the fact that there's just this directionless feel to the Democrat Party now. where they don't have anybody to coalesce around. They don't have any actual hope for their message, so they're sprouting.
Found a bomb.
It's just
Make your way
violence
to its location
because
and
they don't have anybody that's giving them a message that they feel they can confidently take into the next election cycle to try and change the things that they, at least in their minds, feel are wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just violence, it's also haplessness, right? Like you see them saying Trump's going to take away our Medicare. That's not anywhere. Trump's going to destroy Social Security. That's not anywhere. They make stuff up because they don't have a policy platform and they don't have any leaders. The closest thing they have to a leader right now is like Jasmine Crockett. You know what I mean? And it's just because she has a big mouth and she's out there being loud.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Hakeem Jeffries.
And they're all advocating for
Cover
violence.
the
Yeah,
diffuser.
they're all, Hakeem
Look,
Jeffries.
friendly
We're
last
going
operator
to
standing.
take it to the streets. Maxine Waters is always about
She's
that.
always the worst.
Yeah.
We had one of the most shocking things I've seen was when on The Daily Show, Jordan Klepper showed terror attacks. One of the attacks on Tesla in Vegas was a man with a rifle shooting into the building, trying to take out its security cameras, then shooting wildly into a bunch of cars, graffitiing up the building, and then setting fire to a bunch of the vehicles. And when he showed this, the
All
audience
friendlies
cheered
have
for
been
him.
eliminated.
He even was shocked and said, wow, I guess you guys like petty acts of domestic terrorism.
Something very similar on Stephen Colbert at the same time. He made a joke like, "Don't attack Teslas," and then did a pause.
No, that was Kimmel.
Sorry, it's Kimmel. Forgive me. It was Kimmel. But similar. Sorry. For
But Colbert did also do something similar where he
did
said
he?
he deserves, he said someone stole the tires off a vehicle, but he says, yeah, I don't attack I don't condemn the attacks, but I appreciate your tireless efforts, and wins a pun award. He said that I think it's wrong to attack Teslas, and this comes from the bottom of my CBS legal department, implying he doesn't actually, and they're cheering for these things. So I wonder, we are at a time in this country where in public people are cheering for terror.
Be ready to engage, Op 4.
Setting down my +1. Throwing the bait.
Doorway trap. Stay clear of blast zone.
Down to 5 seconds.
Stay clear of blast.
Op 4 has located a bomb. Get ready to engage.
Setting up a diversion. In position. Divertiti. Reload.
Attacks against anyone perceived
friendlies
to
were
be
eliminated.
right-wing.
Mission
Even
failure.
if you're just driving a Tesla, which you probably bought well before Trump or Elon had anything to do with government.
Well, you know, we have DHS and ICE doing this thing where they're scouring people's social media to determine if they are immigrants who advocate for violence or who are opposed to American values or whatever the criteria is. I wonder if they'll start doing that for the Tesla people and just start like arresting anti-Tesla people based on their social media posts.
And that will end up sparking concern from them in the same way, because they're going to say that you're being a fascist by arresting them.
Well, it is concerning to arrest someone based on a social media post alone, as we've seen in the UK. Like
Yes.
We've seen a lot of that, but they have to start arresting and having real justice put on these people doing these attacks, because that is what will deter others from doing it. If these people get away with it, and maybe it's the case that it will, if it's true about these activist judges, if they get away with it, this will just continue.
I wonder if that would be a deterrent. It certainly didn't appear to be a deterrent in 2020 when people got arrested.
I don't think it will.
Did they get charged, though? They got arrested, but did they get charged?
In a lot of cases, the charges were eventually dropped.
I don't think it ends up stopping anybody. I think so many of these people are so broken and so upset, and they feel so hopeless because of all of the rhetoric that they're spewed and fed every single day, that they're acting so irrationally that even a rational deterrent won't work on an irrational person.
Yeah, because you can cheer. Yeah. So if Donald Trump's DHS, a bunch of Nazi fascist outfits, go and arrest someone, they're going to say it's a badge of honor.
Well, and look at what happened to Luigi Mangione, right? He suspected of murdering this guy in cold blood on camera in New York, and California named a healthcare bill after him.
Yeah,
it's like the Mangione Healthcare Act,
and it's penalties.
Evil eye on watching.
My evil eye ready to kill some storms.
They've ceased attempting to secure the container. Mission failed. All friendlies have been neutralized.
On if you delay, deny, or depose or whatever.
Yeah, it's penalties on healthcare companies that don't do what Luigi Mangione wants.
Let me jump to this next tweet here. We have from Christy Nome, Secretary of DHS, Department of Homeland Security.
Ready to eliminate hostiles.
I cannot show you the video, my friends. It is a man calling for people to murder ICE agents. And Christy Nome responds, if you threaten or attempt to harm a law enforcement officer, we will find you and prosecute you to 4% of the law. Should this guy be arrested? Because he literally says in the video, to do it. He says, do this, do it. If they approach you, do it.
For sure. He's definitely inciting violence.
Telling people to
biohazard container.
Attack.
Wall secured! That's clear. Evil eye on what?
Wall is reinforced.
Keep an eye on door.
Prevent further access to the securing the container. Prevent further access. One op 4 remaining. Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful.
To kill law enforcement?
Yeah, that's pretty serious.
Yeah. And it's brazen in public. And he said because they're fascists, because they are masked individuals. And he says you have a right to do it. And you do not. But this is a degree of escalation. And I will say this, it's so intense. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't play the video for you here on YouTube.
No, it's too severe.
I believe it is a federal criminal offense, what he said. And
to be a federal, it would have offense. It would have to be proved that it would directly lead to actual attacks.
Responds if you threaten or
some of them were just racist memes and reposting racist memes and a bit of racism here and there. Disgusting things that were said, but you know, clearly not incitement of violence. But then there's some people who were arrested for planning online on using Facebook to plan where to do certain attacks on asylum hotels, and those people were arrested.
No, go ahead. Sorry. I know if you're done.
So you're saying that this seems to you to be like a felony, but wouldn't you have to prove that it would directly lead to an attack?
No, it turns out you don't have to do that, which is crazy, but based on precedent. Like, for example,
Quiet as a mouse.
Drone activated.
Grenade out. Scanning for electronics. Biohazard container detected.
Secure the room. Protect the biocontainer.
Douglas Mackey was
Stop
arrested
securing
and
the container.
convicted
Secure
for
the
what
biohazard
was it, like
container.
a
Op 4
election
last
that
stop
was
standing.
or something?
that was fraud. That's different from threats of violence.
Right, but there was no evidence
Nicely
that the
done.
DOJ could
Biocontainer
provide that
secure.
showed that the meme he posted impacted anybody to do the thing that the meme suggested.
In regards to violence, though, the imminent harm is the standard. And so that's why usually, if you said something like, I think people should do this thing, isn't illegal. But if you say, at this time, go do this thing.
Right, like, isn't this incitement?
This, I believe, qualifies, as he says several times. Right when the video starts, he says, do it explicitly. And I can't play it because he's maybe in the uncensored portion, but I don't want to play with this video.
But he's referring to a specific place and a specific time.
No.
He's not. He's just saying.
So
if you
actually, this is where it gets interesting in law. If it's an imminent threat where you said, I want you to go to this place, Jim's Bar, take go pick up one of these things and then use it to do this thing to that guy. You've got a person, you've got a place, you're directing them to do it. In this regard, he is saying, if ICE agents show up at your house or stop you anywhere, do this thing with this thing. He's saying to shoot them. He's explicitly saying, take a gun. If you see them, end their lives. That's what he's saying. I believe this qualifies as violating the law. And I'd be interested to see, this, Democrats will absolutely defend him. If he got arrested for this, they'd say it's free speech.
They're defending Luigi Mangione.
Indeed.
He shot a man in cold blood.
Accused
likely.
of.
Yeah.
I actually don't think he did it.
You don't think he did it?
Nope.
Okay.
Because the initial videos that were released, I'll say it every time,
Friendly drone
when that story
deployed.
first came out,
Op 4 is
we all looked at
reinforcing
the
its
surveillance
location.
footage and said, that looks like a middle-aged guy. You can tell by his hands, the top of the face that you can see. It looks like he's got older skin. Older folks, their skin doesn't move as well in the cold. You'll notice they do like the moisture test. That
10
you
seconds
pinch the
to
skin and pull it.
insertion.
You can see pressure points on his hands. I assumed when we first saw that it's going to be a guy who was like in his late 40s or 50s. Then they put up a picture of this other guy.
You've located a bomb.
Said he was a person
Make
of
your way to
interest,
its
and he's wearing a
location
different
and
coat
defuse it.
with different eyebrows and a different backpack. And everybody said, that's the guy. That's the guy. He's the suspect. And I said, guys, no. They're saying he's a person of interest. That could mean that he was maybe in the same building talking.
Drop the diffuser.
You're all mine.
Down to one friendly. We have been eliminated. Be ready to eliminate hostiles.
Barbed wire installed.
10 seconds. 5 seconds to insertion. Op 4 has located a bomb. Be ready for hostile action.
Sniper deployed.
Deploying ADS.
Barrier activated.
Op 4, last stop standing. Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful. Be ready to eliminate hostiles.
Deploying ADS.
located by Op 4.
APS deployed and ready to go.
My evil eye ready to kill some strong. Evil eye deployed.
You can stop worrying about grenades now. Deploying heartbeat sensor.
Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful. Be ready to eliminate hostiles.
You can stop worrying.
Down to 10 seconds.
Loading new magazine!
Down to 5 seconds. Op 4 has located the bomb. Be ready for hostile action.
Door is blocked! Loading bag!
One Op 4 remaining. One friendly operator remaining. Mission failed. All friendlies have been neutralized. Protect the bombs. Ten seconds left. 5 seconds and counting. You must protect your bombs from being defused by Op 4. Op 4 found a bomb. You must defend it. Op 4. You need to use your drone to locate a bomb. Ten seconds to go. Insertion in 5 seconds. Your mission is to locate and defuse a bomb. You located a bomb. Op 4 eliminated. Friendly mission successful. Protect the bombs. 10 seconds to insertion. Down to 5 seconds. You must protect your bombs from being defused by Op 4. A bomb has been located by Op 4. Failed. All friendlies were eliminated.
Talking to the guy and they want to talk to him. Then all of a sudden, they find this Luigi Mangione guy in a McDonald's. Someone recognized him? How?
I'll add to that bit.
With an orgy of evidence.
I think I'm certainly with you in questioning whether he's really the guy, because if you look at how the kill was done, it's a really professional job. And then if you look at how he was caught, how can the same person who pulled off that unbelievable professional, looked like a hit job, then get caught by, like, in the stupidest of ways at a McDonald's? It doesn't seem like...
Who would recognize the guy at McDonald's?
Yeah.
You know, look, from when people recognize me, and I'm sure you get the same thing, is they'll be like, you kind of look like some guy.
A bomb must be located and defused. You have located a bomb. Op 4 neutralized. Mission successful.
They never come up and like, that's you. So
if you look at the actual image of what they, he had a mask pulled down to this, you're not going to recognize.
Didn't he have his manifesto in his bag?
and the weapon. And
I always carry my manifestos to McDonald's.
this is why people have said it was in the Minority Report reference, an orgy of evidence.
Yeah.
Meaning, you know, you walk in the movie, Tom Cruise's character walks in the room and there's photos everywhere of his son who was kidnapped. When the inspector comes in, he goes, "No, I don't believe it." He's like, "All of this is a stage. It's meant to look like a crime scene. Come on."
And have you seen the video of him when he's, I think he's cuffed in a jumpsuit and he's shouting at the press?
Right.
Protect the
it's
bombs.
really-
Down to 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Bomb locations are secure. Mission failed. All friendlies have been neutralized.
Interesting to watch that again, because what he says is not what it's not what someone would say. I've unfortunately
He
forgotten.
said something like the American people being too stupid to believe it or something.
Exactly. It just the way he said it didn't seem to be like the sort of thing an actual hitman would say then.
So maybe
To locate a bomb.
I don't know, but in that regard, it could be a hitman got away with killing the CEO, and the government is like, we cannot have a story
10
of a rogue
seconds to go.
hitman running around.
They have to pin it.
5 seconds to go. A bomb must be located and defused. Bomb has been located. All friendlies have been eliminated.
It on somebody.
Why have they never seen mafia movies? I mean, there's plenty of stories.
The American
Should have
public
taken the gun and let
the American public would panic, and it could disrupt the economy in many ways if people are scared to go outside because there's a hitman running around or a murderer.
Don't the American public already? No one would be surprised to learn there's hitmen in the public. Everyone knows there's hitmen.
Well, the belief among many Americans is that there probably are, but it's extremely rare and much harder than people think. You know, it's usually just a sting operation. But, you know, back to the main point.
To use your drone to
My
locate a
concern
bomb.
here is if they don't arrest this guy This is what I refer to as the. I didn't make this up. Someone chatted this to us. The ice bucket challenge of
10
terrorism.
seconds to go.
But I mean, this guy made this video because he's like, I'm going to get 1 million views. And he is. The video from Christy Nome, the posting of Christy, 1.3 million.
Locate and defuse a bomb. You have located a bomb. Op 4 eliminated.
The post from Libs of TikTok probably has way more. It's got 2.4
That's
million.
right.
I'm not going to play that video. We're not going to listen to this guy. He says it twice. More than that, he keeps saying it over and over again. That's right. He says, that's right. Do it. Do it.
He's dressed. Didn't it say he was like a real estate agent? He's literally wearing like a real estate agent costume.
That's
calling for violence. Scott, that's what I'm saying. Calling for violence in like a vest should be probably the most egregious part of all of this.
When you have, let me go back in time. I remember again, like when I bring this up, the issue is clear. CBP agents were instructed at the highest level not to interfere in this process. And if a child came across that they knew was going into sex slavery,